Okay, we're going to talk about the Knicks' victory yesterday against the Pacers, 106-102. As you know, all Knicks fans know, the loss against the Raptors was one of historic proportions. At one point, they went either 0 for 20 or 0 for 21. They went 3 for 36. And initially, my thought on that last game was that it was simply due to legs. And anyone that plays basketball understands that if you have no legs, you have no jump shot. And Tom Thibodeau, right now, as he's always has, is going to play his main dogs the most minutes that he can. Um, uh, Julius Randle, at this point, they mentioned in the broadcast last night against the Pacers, is number two in minutes in the NBA. He's operating as a quasi point forward. Fizdale and several other coaches have tried that with him, and for whatever reason, it just never worked. He is a turnover machine. But I will give credit. They did notice that the shots that they were getting against the Raptors were open. They just weren't falling. And until the Knicks get into a point of being used to the high amount of minutes that the starters are going to get, RJ Barrett, I think, played 42 minutes against the Pacers. Just like anybody else, they're gonna have to get used to it. They're gonna have to get used to their legs, and they're not gonna be able to practice as much as they can. Um, So they were able to bounce back. They are 3-3, and so are the highly paid and touted Brooklyn Nets. But again, it's early in the season. We just don't know with such a short turnaround in the offseason what the season is going to turn into. Uh, there's mention of things being a complete 180 after the All Star break. And I agree with that. I do think that this weird truncated offseason of 2 months is going to play in favor to the teams that did not have to play in the bubble. Their legs are fresher. They have, more enthusiasm to play or whatever. There will be exceptions to the rule. I think the Lakers are still playing great, but this is just a warm up. The Lakers will repeat. I don't see anybody beating them if they're healthy. Um, so yeah, but in terms of the Knicks, they showed a lot of grit in this Pacer game. The Pacers are not an easy team to beat in Indianapolis, and any Knicks fan knows with all those battles with Larry Bird's Pacers and the Reggie Millers and the Mark Jacksons and whatnot. Even without a crowd, it is very difficult to win there. They were one of the top teams in the East at 4-1 coming in, and the Knicks took it to them. They grinded out a win. They kept their lead, unlike the first time that they played. They weren't able to keep their lead. They kept Sabonis in check, and that was quite remarkable. Now to pivot to the second point that I made in terms of could RJ Barrett bounce back from an awful 4 game stretch and find his form. RJ Barrett, just from outside looking in and speculating, when RJ's in, it's just like being a jazz player. Either you hit your notes or you don't. Everything is rhythm. Everything is musical in basketball. It's improvisation. It's everything else. And for whatever reason, RJ always looks like he's thinking about shooting rather than reacting to shooting, and that's a very important distinction. When he's in rhythm and he's taking the shots that the defense is giving him, and not trying to be, I think everybody thinks that they're James Harden or thinks that they're Steph Curry. I mean, that's a 1 in a million shot to be that. Everybody else needs to play within the system and do what they do. I'm not saying that RJ Barrett can't become one of those players in the future, but there are times where you're going to have 12 points. Look at the way Julius ran. All right, we fixed our lighting problem. Took an hour to charge the battery. I ordered a cord on Amazon, so I don't have to worry about the battery anymore. But I digress. I don't know where I was. Let's just assume that I was on the second question. Could RJ bounce back? And the answer was an unequivocal yes. He played really well. I don't remember his stats off the top of my head. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. But it was very similar to the first game that he played, where it was, I think in the first game he was 3 for 3 from downtown, 20 something points, etc., etc., etc. I think it was like 3 for 5, maybe, scored 20 something points. But he let the game come to him. This is how you do well in the NBA. The game slows down, and I mentioned it before in the previous segment, is you're not James Harden, you're not Steph Curry. You have to build to that. and take the shots that the defense gives you, swing the ball, use your strengths. He is a fantastic, fantastic driver. Gets into the paint, has a Euro step. He's physical. He can finish at the rim. He can pass. So lead with that. And if the ball swings a few times and you're open in the corner and Randall finds you, quickly finds you, you shoot the open shot. Basketball doesn't have to be that hard. And for whatever reason, he's done really well in Indiana, and he's sucked everywhere else. But this is the growth that a young basketball player has to go through. And it's exciting to see him go through it. And it's exciting that he bounced back and was able to have a good game. So I look forward to seeing him playing again and seeing if he can maintain this. Getting a little streak, but again, you can be very effective in the game without scoring 30 points. Everybody's so obsessed with scoring, and that's not what winning teams do. You know, Rajon Rondo, um, Luca, LeBron, Dwayne Wade. You can go on and on and on and on with players that affect the game. Dennis Rodman, without having to score a million points. It's not about the points. It's about the W. That's all that matters at the end of the game is the W. The W's get you better contracts. The W showcases your skills in the playoffs. And when you stop getting on the me first bandwagon, you do better. So it was nice to see RJ letting the game flow naturally. And again, it's like being a jazz player. It's waiting for the right notes. On the last part, the last point that we wanted to go in terms of this game was how quickly would play after being out. I should have actually amended that and said how quickly and Mr. Doc Rivers' son, his name is slipping me. I don't know. I'm tired. I don't know. Whatever. Austin Rivers. There you go. Austin Rivers, how he would play as well, because they both had, not really practiced much with the team. Quickly was out with an injury. Austin Rivers was out. Didn't even get to play preseason. He played a little bit in Tampa Bay. But Austin is a combo guard. Austin can shoot, score, and defend. And I think him and Quickly are going to do well to be together. Originally in the beginning of the year, I wanted us to bury a lot of the vets, whether it's Bullock, whether it's what's his name? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. What was our starting point guard? This is why I should have notes. I wish I had a producer. Oh, Alfred Payton. I wish I had a producer in my ear. Anyway, I wanted to bury the veterans, Reggie Bullock and Alfred Payton, and see what the young guys could do. But again, you have to earn it. And Alfred Payton, Julius Randle, and they even made a comment about this in the game, and I thought it was very, very, very perfect observation, was that they feel threatened and they're playing for their lives because players, for every draft that comes in, and undrafted free agents, for every G League success story, there's a finite amount of roster availability, and players do not get re-signed. And I don't think they want to play in Turkey. I mean, Julius would always have a home. I think he's a big guy. He can hit the occasional three. But guys like Alfred Payton that can't shoot in this modern NBA, they don't want to go to Turkey. And shout out to Turkey. I'm not, saying anything. I mean, but that's not for everybody. That's not what everybody wants. Everybody wants to make it in the NBA. So, that lit a fire under them. And Emmanuel quickly tearing up the preseason, being anointed the point guard of the future, there's no way Alfred Payton didn't feel threatened, and he busted his ass to try to do better. And the last few games, it's been a complete change. He's playing to his strengths. That first game was an anomaly with him shooting 3 for 3 from downtown. He's not a 3-point shooter, but you know what? Then again, Rajon Rondo didn't start as a 3-point shooter and adapted really well and is now a threat from downtown. And Alfred Payton, in his mind, knows that he has to be able to hit the open shot. But in any case, he's been going to the paint and he's been a force. So he's been playing to his strengths. So again, we're going to watch this carefully. We're going to see how the Knicks progress. Your highs shouldn't be too high. Your lows shouldn't be too low. I think a successful campaign is being competitive for the final playoff spot, whether that's the play-in tournament at number 10 or number 7, wherever they stand. I think this team with Tibbs, um, potentially, if they stay healthy, could be an 8th or 7th seed. I personally, I'm going to be saying that this draft is loaded. I would love us to get a nice quality pick, but we've been getting a lot of quality picks. Um, we have to get wins now to attract free agents, and maybe we can find a gem at 15 or 16 later in the rounds of the draft, and not worry about trying to get the first pick that we have not gotten since 1985. So the progress, is ticking up slowly. Even being at 500 after 6 games is progress. Look at the way Derek Fisher started. Look at the way Hornacek started. Look at the way all our head coaches, Kurt Rambis, Fizdale, we've had a million of them, and they've, for the most part, have all started poorly. So this is a good start. This is progress, and we're going to continue to see how they do and how they fare going forward. And I'm excited to see the growth of these young kids. So we'll see how it goes. We look forward to the next game, and we'll see how this progresses. And again, I want to point out, I don't remember if the Knicks have no, the Knicks have not had a full complement of players and rosters since the season started. So Ntilikina, Obi Toppin is out, uh, uh, Dennis Smith Jr. is out. Um, Quickly is working his way back in. Austin Rivers is working his way back in. So let's see how the team is with a full complement of players and see if we can be competitive with everybody. All right. So thank you. If you like the video, please give me comments. Let me know what you don't like, what you like, and we'll see. We'll take it from there. All right. We'll see you at the next game.